Hello and welcome. I'm Raghav and welcome to Postman Crash Course. In this course, I'm going to go very basic step by step and we will learn Postman from scratch. So do not worry if you have no prior knowledge or experience with Postman or API testing. I will show you everything from scratch and we will go in a step by step way. So we will start with the introduction and learn what is Postman. We will then download and install Postman, and you can follow this on Windows or Mac operating system. And then we will understand the GUI of the tool and we will look at some features. I will also show you how you can learn API web services basics just in case you are completely new to API and web services. We will then create the first API request in Postman, and then we will see how we can create how we can use different HTTP methods like get, post, put, patch, delete, etc. in Postman. And then we will create our own REST API. We will create a local server on our local system, and then we will create a REST API and use it for testing on Postman. So let's get started. This is going to be easy and interesting, and I will go to my browser on Google. I will search for Postman, and this is the website for Postman, postman.com. If you go here, you will find some documentation and information about Postman. And here, Postman is a complete platform for API development, testing, and management. If you go to the use cases here and see the use case by function, it can be used for development, testing, and management of APIs. So it is a complete API platform, and we are going to focus on the testing part. Now, to get Postman, you can just click on the download app button here, and if you are on Mac, it will download as a zip file that you can unzip. If you are on Windows, let me show you on the Windows system. I am on my Windows system, and again I will search for Postman on Google, and I will go to the Postman website. And here, if I click on download the app, here I'm getting the option to download, and here we can download Windows 32-bit or Windows 64-bit. Just to check what is your operating system bit size, you can go to my computer or this PC, do a right click and go to properties, and here you can check. In my case it is 64-bit operating system, so I will go and get the 64-bit version. So I will download the 64-bit version, and this will download as a exe file that you can double click and then install and start Postman. So I will go to this file, and here it is. I will double click and this will start the installation process for Postman, and this is on Windows, so you can see it is now installing Postman. And in case you are on Mac, when you download, it will be downloaded as a zip file, and let me show you. So here you can see this will be downloaded as a zip file. You can unzip using any unzip utility on your Mac, and then you will have the Postman app that you can double click and you can start Postman on Mac. So once it is started, the rest of the process is going to be the same. So you can see it is now getting started on my Windows system, and Postman is up here, and also on my Mac system Postman is starting here. So here Postman is also started. Let me just close on my Mac system and I will show you on Windows, and you can follow the same on Mac as well. So the first thing, here I am getting a launchpad where we have option to create a new request, create a collection, customize Postman using a dark mode or a light mode, and some other options. In case you do not see the launchpad tab, you can close all the tabs open here, and then you will find an option to open launchpad. And then this is the GUI of Postman. Let us understand the GUI. So at the top, you can see we have a simple menu where we have option for file, and here you can create a new element, new Postman window, new runner window. You can go to settings or close and exit. Then we have edit, and here you can do undo, redo, delete operations. Then view, you can zoom in, zoom out, toggle sidebar, go to single pane view or two pane view, and go to the Postman console. And then we have developer options here, and in the help menu you can check for updates. You can go to the documentation or GitHub, Twitter, and go to the support. So all these are links. If I go to the documentation here, you can see it takes me to Postman documentation, and here we have a very good documentation, a very well categorized documentation. It can be very helpful and handy. Let me go back to my Postman, and now here we have different sections. So here the top section, this is called header. So this area at the top, this is the header, and I will also mention this here. This is our header in Postman, and then this is the sidebar. So this one is the sidebar, and here is the builder area, and here we can create our requests and also check the responses. So this is the builder, and then at the bottom this is the status bar. So this area is called status bar. So here these are the four major sections in Postman. We have the header here, then we have the sidebar, the builder, and the status bar. Now if I go to the header, we have this new button, and if I go to new, it will open this window where we can create a new request, a new collection, a new environment, etc. Also we have templates here. So these are some popular APIs created by Postman community, and you can see all these templates here. These can be very handy, and you can look at some examples. For example, if I want to work with file, I will search for file, and I'm getting some templates on how to write responses to a file, file uploads, etc. Similarly, if I search for database, I can find some database related Postman APIs. For example, here we have querying database through Postman and some other examples. Then we have API network. Now these are some public APIs curated by Postman, and these again can be very handy. For example, you want to check some APIs related to entertainment and then use them, you can see here, and similarly there are other categories. So this is the new button window. Also, if you go to the new button drop down, we have these options to create a new request, collection, environment, etc. Then we have option to import a collection from all these different sources. So you can import a collection from here. We have a option of runner, and this will open a collection runner window. So whenever we run a collection in Postman, it runs in a collection runner window. So you can open a new window from here. Then we have this option to open a new tab, open a new Postman window, or open a runner window. Now if you come here, we have an option for workspaces. In Postman you can create multiple workspaces, and then we can also collaborate between teams using the workspaces. Now here I am not getting an option to create a new workspace because I am not signed in, so I will have to sign in to create a workspace. Also you can check a sign in option is here. So let me click on sign in, and here you can first create an account. You can go here and create an account. You can use your email, username and password, and then create an account. You will get an email to verify your account, and once you have created an account, you can come and sign in. So in my case, I have an account. Let me try to sign in, and here you can see now I am signed in to Postman. So now if I click on workspaces, I am getting an option to create a new workspace, and also if you click on all workspaces, it will take you to your browser and it will take you to your account. So you can see here you can check your workspaces. You can also check a lot of other things on your browser, on your account. So you can see the teams and API network, templates, etc., reports here, and then you can also go to your account and go to your profile and account settings and notification preferences, etc. So you can also manage your account from here. So if I go back to Postman, so again here we have a invite button to invite other users on your workspace. So you can use this button to invite your teammates. And then here we have a button to sync your API requests across devices. So if you are logged into Postman with your account on multiple devices, you can do a sync using this button. We also have a button here to capture requests and cookies with Postman, and if you go here you can set up a proxy and then you can capture the network traffic. Here we have settings. So if I click on settings and go here, you can see these are the settings that you can do for Postman. So in general settings we have a section for requests, and you can do the settings from here, like if you want to turn on SSL verification, or if you want to limit the timeout or response size, you can do it from here. Then here we have the working directory of Postman, and by default it is this location, which is C users and your user Postman files. Just in case you want to change this directory, you can do it from here. Sometimes you may want to change the directory because of space issues, or maybe because you do not have complete rights or permissions on C drive. You can always change it from here. Then we have a section for settings on headers. So in case you want to send Postman token header, or you want to follow redirects, all the settings you can do. I will also show you, you can do some of these settings when you are sending a request, so I will show that to you later. Then coming to the user interface, here we have settings for the font size and variable open complete, open launchpad, and other settings. Now if I go to themes, we have a dark theme for Postman and a light theme. So you can select a theme from here. These are the keyboard shortcuts, and these can be very handy when you are working with Postman. Then if I go to data, here we have a option to export and import data. So you can export all your data and it will be exported as a file, and then you can also import all your data using that file from here. We have a option for add-ons, and we have a Newman add-on, and Newman is a tool or a npm program that can be used for running our Postman from command line. Then we have certificates. In case you are using any certificate, you can add it here. Settings for proxy, if you are using any proxy, you can do the settings here. Then updates, it will show you the latest version available and what is your version. So in my case, as of now, it is the latest version, and you can also check for updates. You can also automatically download major updates and enable this option here. Then about Postman will show you your version, and then some other links for documentation and support and report issue, etc. So this is about settings, and if you go to the settings, you will have some more options for documentation, release notes, and support. So you can also go to these links directly from here. If you are working in organizations, you may want to look at the security feature so that you know that your data is secure, and you can see what Postman says about security and data security, and you can read all the details about security features here. Then we have an option for notifications. Any new notifications will be shown here. Then we have option for tweet, so you can tweet about Postman from here. Then there is an option to manage accounts. If you click here, you can see your account. You can sign out, go to your profile and account settings from here. And then we have an option to upgrade. Just in case you want to upgrade Postman, you can upgrade from here. So you can see on the free version all these limits we have: the APIs, shared request, shared history, mock usage, and you can see how much you have consumed. And in case you want to upgrade, you can also upgrade your Postman. Now if I come to the sidebar, on the sidebar we have history, collections, and APIs. So once we create our collections, they will be shown here, and under our collections we can create our API requests, and then in the history you will see all the history of the requests that you have run on Postman. So you will see history here. Also, in case you do not want to see the sidebar, you can click on this option to hide the sidebar, and then you will see a complete builder area here, and I will click on this again to see the sidebar. Coming to the builder area, now here is where you will have your request and responses, and in a moment we will see how to create a request and how to see the response. We also have options for setting the environment and looking at the environments from here. Then we can see the environment and variables from here, and then again a settings option where you can manage your environment. So this was builder. And then if you come to the bottom status bar, which is this area here. This is the button to show or hide sidebar. Then we have this option for search, so you can do an advanced search using this option. You can also use regular expressions here. Then we have options to go to the Postman console, and this will be very handy and useful when you are debugging. I will show you how to debug in Postman. So here you will see all your logs and everything. Then here we have a bootcamp and learning. So here you can just go and it will take you to the learning process. So you can see here, let me show you this. So you can see how to design mocking APIs, designing and manual testing, all these courses you can take. And then here is a learning center. Then here, let me close this. So this is the builder. Then you can also browse to your APIs. As of now we do not have any APIs. Then we have this button here to see a two-pane view or a single pane view. So when you click here, you can see your request here. So in a two-pane view you will see a request here and a response here, and in a single pane view you will see a request at the top, and then when you run you will see a response at the bottom. And then these are the keyboard shortcuts, so you can see the shortcuts here. And here we have a question mark. This is for support and other links. So you can see the support here, security, documentation, release notes, etc. So this was all about the Postman GUI, and we have covered introduction, we have covered what is Postman, how to download and install, and we have also seen the GUI of the Postman tool. So now let us start with API Web Services basics, and I will show you how you can learn in case you are completely new to API Web Services. You can go on my website, that is automationstepbystep.com, and here you will find a section on API testing, and then here is a tutorial on API Web Services. So this will take you to a YouTube playlist, and here you will find all the tutorials on the basics of web services, what is web service, and basics of SOAP and REST architecture. All this you will find here. So just in case you are completely new and you want to learn the basics, you can go here. And let us now go and create our first API request. So for now I can create a new collection, or I can directly create a new request. I will go to here, new, and click on new request. So here we can give a request name and description. So for now let me just go to Google and search for REST API for testing. I'm going to use a public available API, and I'm going to this website reqres.in, and you can use any of your available APIs or any public API available to you. I will also show you how to create a local API for testing, but just for now let me go here, and we have some examples here for get, post, put, delete, etc. I will click on this get request, and I will click on this request here. So this is a get request, this is the URI of the request or the URL, and this is how we should get the response. So I will copy the URL from here, and let me give the request name as list users, and description is optional. And here, because I have not created any collection, it is asking me to create a collection. I will click on create collection, and let me say the collection name is examples, and I will use this collection and save the request. So now you can see we have got our request here, and this is the area where we will create our request. Also, if I go to collections now, you can see I have a collection called examples, and inside the collection I have list users API request. So now I will copy the URL and provide this here, and then you can see we have options for parameters or params, and it has already taken param page equals to, which is coming from here. And then if you have any authorization like username, password, basic authorization, OAuth, everything you can set from here. Now in this case we do not require any authorization. We have headers. any request headers will come here. You can give the key value here. Then body, we will need body in case of post, put and patch. As of now for get we do not need any body. We have pre-request scripts here, so you can create scripts that you want to run before running the actual request. For example, sometimes you want to get a global variable or do some settings or clear some environment variable. All that we can do here, and there are also some snippets. So if you just click here, it will auto generate the snippet for you that you can use, and it will be very handy. And all this will be in JavaScript. Again, tests, these are the tests that you want to run after you get a response. For example, if I just click here, status code is 200, it will create a snippet for checking the status code is 200 after we get the response. Again, this is JavaScript, and here we have some templates and snippets that you can use, and it will be very handy. Then we have settings, and here you can do the settings. And if you see here, I am in a two pane view. Here we have the request area and here is the response area. In case I want to go to the single pane view, I can click here, and now it is a single pane where we have the request area here, and response will come down, and this will be the response area here. So now I am on settings. So here you can see we have settings for follow redirects or follow original HTTP methods and other settings as well. So you can scroll down and see all these settings. And then here we have option for cookies. If you want to set any cookies for your request, you can do it here. And then we have option for code. If you click here, you will see a code for your request in different programming languages and tools, and just in case you want to use it, you can directly copy this from here and then you can use these codes. So this will be handy in case you are using any external tools or IDEs, like if you are using Java. So you can see this is the Java OK HTTP code, and this is the Java Unirest code for our API request. Now I'll go back to my request and everything is done. I can save from here, so it will get saved in the collection, and I can now click on the send button. So this will send our request, and now I have got the response here. You can see here is the response section, and here I have got status as 200 OK. Time taken is 53 milliseconds and size is 1.89 KB. And then if I go here, we have body, cookies, headers and test results. If I go to body, here you can see the response body, and we have different formats here like a raw format, preview, visualize, etc. And here also you can change the format to JSON, XML or whatever is available here. Then here you can wrap the line or unwrap it. Then we have response cookies. So these are the cookies. Then the response headers and the test result. So whatever test we have added, the result will be shown here. So our test status code is 200 is passed, and therefore I am seeing this. You can also filter out from here all passed, skipped, failed, etc. So this is how you can very quickly create a API test or a API request in Postman. Let us also see some more HTTP examples. Let me take a post example. So I will click on new here and create a request. I will say this is post, or I can say create user. Post is for create, and here if I go to the REQ-RES website, here we have some post example as well. And just in case you want to see the HTTP methods, the different HTTP methods, you can go to Google and search for HTTP methods, and you can see some websites here. And if you go here, you can see post is for creating, so it will create a resource on the server, and usually we get 201 as the response code of a successful post. Then we have get to read or retrieve the resource, and we have 200 OK as the successful status code. We have put to update or replace the resource. We have patch to partially update or modify the resource, and delete is to delete the resource or remove the resource. So you can see these examples here, then you can also see all this here. So I'm going to use a post request from REQRES, and this is for creating a user. So I'll just click on this link so that I get the endpoint or the URI, and I will say this is create user, and I will save this to examples collection, and then I will change the HTTP method to post here and give the URL. And now here I do not have any authorization headers, but I need to give a body in case of post. So I will click on raw and copy the body or the payload from here and paste it here, and here I will say this is a JSON format, and you can see this has changed. Also, if you want to change the font or increase the font, you can go to settings, and here if you go to the user interface, you can increase the font from here. So let me just increase the font. So this is the body. I'm not giving any pre-request or test scripts, and no settings required, no cookies or code required. So I will save and run the request, and you can see we have got a response. So here we have got a status code 201, which is for successful creation, time taken 227 milliseconds, and size, and here we have got the response. So this is working fine. So now we have a get and a post request. Let us create a put request, and if I go here, put is for updating the resource, and I will create a new request, and I will say this is update user and save to examples and change it to put, and then I have to use the resource URI, which is this link, and I also have to provide a body in case of put. So I have to give the data that needs to be changed. So I'll just copy this from here and put it here and change the format to JSON and save and run, and you can see we have got the response, and here we have got status code 200, time and size, and everything is fine. So this is a simple put request. Now let me create a patch request. Now you can also directly click on this plus button to create a new tab, and then you can create a request. So I can create a patch request now. I'll select patch, and here I will take this example for patch. This is the URI, and I'll go to the body and give the body here, and make it equals to JSON. And now if you see, it has not yet saved to the collection because we have directly created it from here. So let me first save this, and I can just say the name here. So I can say this is partial update user and save to examples, and now I will run and check. So here I have got the response and everything is running fine. Now I will create a delete request. I will click on this tab, select delete, and then here I will select a delete request and get the URI. So here it is deleting a particular resource, that is users and user with ID 2, and I do not need any body or anything else for delete. In case there is an authorization for your request, you can give it here, and then I will save it to my collection. I will say this is delete user, save to examples collection, and I will run the request, and you can see I have got the result. 204 is for successful deletion, that is no content, time taken and size, and here you can see the headers of the response, and there will be no body. So this is a successful deletion. So these are some examples how you can very quickly create all these API requests with Postman. Now as of now we have used a public available APIs, and these are some fake APIs. So we cannot actually see a resource getting created when we do a post, or resource getting updated when we do a put or patch. So for that, let us create our own API server and our own API. And for that, I will go to my browser and I am going to use Json-server. So this is the GitHub page, the website for Json-server, and I will also put this in the notes. All these notes will be available to you. So here you can create a full fake REST APIs using Json-server, and if you scroll down you will see some documentation, and here is the command to install Json-server. Now if you see, it is a node program, so therefore we are using npm install -g Json-server. So we will need node to be installed on our system. So to check if node.js is installed, you can go to your command line or your terminal in case of Mac and check node space -v or node space -- version. In case you do not get the version of node, that means node is not installed or set up on your system. You can also check version for npm. So if node is not installed, npm will also not be there. So we have to first install node.js. You can go to Google and say download node.js, and this will take you to the node.js website, that is nodejs.org. Here you can download the installer as per your operating system. Now if I go to my Mac and go to the terminal and I say node space -v or node space -- version, I am getting the version of node.js. I can also check npm space -v, and npm is also set up here, so I should also get a version for npm. So in my Mac it is already there. So for Windows, I will download the installer and then I will run the installer. I will also show you in case of Mac in a moment. So here I will say next and read and accept the license agreement, and this is the location where node.js will go. Click on next and next and next and install. You can also install Node.js using Chocolatey. Chocolatey is a package manager for Windows, so you can use that as well. In case you are on Mac, you can again get the Node.js for Mac. So if you go to Node.js download, you can get the Mac installer and then you can run, or a straightforward way will be you can use Homebrew. So I will say, you can say brew install Node.js, and here is a link that will show you all the steps. So Homebrew is a package manager for Mac, and you can install Homebrew first using this command. You can directly go to your terminal and run this command. It will install Homebrew, and then using Homebrew you can install Node.js just by running this command brew install node, and it will install and set up Node.js on your Mac operating system. Let me also copy this link here in the notes. Now on Windows this is done. I will click on finish, and now if I go to my command line, you should always check on a new command prompt so that it does not maintain the older session. I will open a new command prompt and then I will say node space -v or node space -- version or npm space -v, and now Node.js is installed on the system. So now I can run the command for installing Json-server. So I will run this command. I'll copy this and go to my command line and paste it. Now you can do a global installation using the -g flag, or I can also remove the -g flag, and I will run this command. So this will download and install Json-server. So you can see this is done. If you get some warnings, this is fine. You should not get any errors. And now to start JSON server, this is the command, and here you can see we have a file called db.json. Here we will have our data for the REST API, and in case you do not already have db.json file created, it will create the file with some dummy data. So let me just copy this command and I will run this here, and let us see. It is saying JSON server is not recognized. Let me exit from here and open a new command prompt. And now I will run the command here. So it is not yet recognized. So let me try again. Let me try with the -g option. I'm going to install JSON server again using -g option. And looks like should be fine now. If I try now, so you can see now it is started, and also it is saying that db.json doesn't exist, and therefore it is creating db.json with some default data, and you will find db.json on the same location where you started JSON server. So in my case it is C users administrator. If I go to C users administrator on my system, and I should see db.json file. So I'll go to C users and administrator, and here is the db.json file. And if I open this file in any editor like Notepad++, you will see the data here. So here it has created a API, a REST API with 3 resources: posts, comments, and profiles. And the same we should see on the server. So this is the server location, or the URL from where you can invoke the server and check the data. So if I go to localhost 3000 on my system, I will just go here on the browser. So I'll go to localhost 3000, and here you can see it is saying you are successfully running JSON server, and here you can see all the 3 resources. So let me also show you in a split window. So here is my file with the data, and here is the URL or the browser. I will just I'll close other tabs, and here now if I go to /posts, you can see it will show me the posts. So here it is showing me this resource, and similarly I can see other resources. Now this is a dummy data. Let us create our own API from scratch. So I will remove everything from this file, and now I'm going to create our own REST API. So I will create a JSON data. So it starts with a curly bracket, start and stop, and then I will create a resource for users. So this will be an array. So I will give a square bracket start and a square bracket stop, and inside this I will create the data. So I will again give a curly bracket start and a curly bracket stop, and then I will give the data for user. So let us say I need first name here, and I will give the value and a comma. Then let us say last name, colon, and the value, and then again a comma. Then let us say I want to give a subject ID, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another resource called subjects, and I can do the referencing of the subjects resource and the users resource, and I will show you that in a moment. So let us say subject ID is 1, and I will also give the ID for this user, and I will say the ID for user is 1. So this is the users data. I will save the file, and now if I go to localhost 3000 on my browser, so let us see, you can now see it has a users resource now, and 1x means there is only one entry or one user in this resource, or one data in this resource. And if I go to /users on the browser, here it will show me the data of the users resource. So this is working fine. Let me create some more users here. I will copy this, give a comma here, and then paste. Make sure the syntax should be correct. Just in case if you are not able to see your data on the browser, go to your command line and check, you will see some error message here, and then you can correct your syntax here. So now I will create a new user. I will say this is Henry, and I will give Ford here. I will say subject ID is 2, and I will say user ID is again 2. Again I will copy this, give a comma, and say this is Albert Einstein, and then I will say subject ID 1 and user ID is 3, and save it. And now if I go to users resource and refresh my browser, you can see I'm getting these users here. Let me also show you like this. I will zoom it. So we are able to see the users here. Now I am going to create another array or another resource called subjects. So after this square bracket close of users, I will create a resource for subjects and a colon and a square bracket start and a square bracket close. Now inside the square brackets, I will give a curly bracket start and a curly bracket close, and then inside the curly bracket I will give name of the subject, and I will say this is automation. Then I will give a ID of the subject, and I will say the ID is 1, and then I will also create another subject. So I will copy this, give a comma and paste, and this I will say is DEVOPS, and then subject ID is 2. Now you can see I can do a referencing between these resources. This is subjects resource, and here we have a users resource where we have a subject ID. So now if I say here /subjects, I should see the subjects, and let me save this and check again. Yes, we are getting the subjects here. And now in case I say here /subjects /1, this will show me subject 1, which is automation. And if I say /subjects /1 and I say /users, this should show me all the users that have subject 1. So if I run this, you can see I'm getting 2 users. So you can also do like this. Also I can say /subjects, and then I can give some parameters. I can say a question mark, and I can say name equals automation. And if I run this, so I think I do not need the quotation marks here. So if I say /subjects and question mark name equals automation, I am getting the resource having the name automation. So this is how you can create and check a REST API. Now in this case we are only able to run the GET request. We can also run the POST request using Postman. So now I will go on my Postman, and let us create a new collection first. So I will go to new and click on collection, and I will say this is examples for local API, and create the collection, and the collection has come here. Now I can create a new request inside a collection. I can also create a request from here. I will say add request, and let me first create a very simple get request. I will name it as get, and I'm just going to get the users resource. So I will say /users here, and I will get this URL and add it here. I can also close all other tabs. I will say close other tabs. I'll give the URL here, and again we do not have any authorization or header, so I will just click on send, and here we should get the result. So I'm getting the users data here. So this is running fine. Now let us try to create a new user using post. So I will again create a new request and I will say this is post and save to the collection and make it a post request. Now I'm going to create a new users. So the URL I have to use is /users. So I will just copy the URL from here, and then here I have to give a body as well. So I will give the body, and this is how we have to give the body. These are the details of the user that we have to provide. So I'll copy this and add it here. We do not need the ID will be auto generated. So we just need these three data: first name, last name, and subject ID. You can make it to a JSON format, and then we also have an option to beautify the data. So I will click beautify, and let me create some data here. I will say Graham Bell. This is the user I want to create, and I will now send the request, and you can see the response. I have got status code 201, that is for successful creation, and the user is created. So now if I go to my browser and refresh the browser, you can see a new user created here. If I go to my file, I will reload the file, and you can see a new user is now created here. Now let us also do a put. I will create a new request and I will name this as put, and I will save to the collection, and this is put, and put is for modifying the resource. So let me try to modify the resource or the user we just created. So for that I have to give the URI or the uniform resource locator of the resource, which is /users and /4. So this will give me the user with ID 4, and you can see this is showing me the user. I will copy this and paste it here, and now I have to give a body that will get updated. So I will say here I'm just going to copy the data from here and add it here and make it equals to JSON and beautify. I do not need the ID. I will say first name is Thomas and last name is Edison, and I will keep the subject ID to 1, and I will now send the request, and let us see the response. So we have got the response and we have got status code 200, and here it says, it gives me the updated resource here. If I go to my browser and if I refresh, so you can see it has changed the data here. Also if I go to my file and if I reload the file, you can see the data is also changed here. So put is working fine. Now let us try a patch request. Patch is for partial modification. So I will say this is patch and save in the collection and change the HTTP method to patch, and again I have to give the URI. So I'm going to use the same user, and here in the body let me just go and change the last name. So I will use this last name. I will say here last name, and I have to give this within the curly brackets, and I will make this to JSON and beautify. So I will say I'll change last name to Parker and run this, and this is running fine. I'm getting status 200 and the resource is changed or modified. If I go to my browser and refresh, so you can see this is changed. If I go to my file and reload, here again you can see the resource is updated here. So put is working fine. Now I will do a delete. So I will create a new request for delete and save to the collection and select delete from here, and then again I have to give the URI of the resource. So I will copy this and paste it here, and for delete I do not have to give any body or other things. You can give authorization or headers if required, but in this case I do not need that. So I will just send the request and let us see the output. So you can see I am getting the response and I am getting status 200, which is fine. If you get 204, that is also okay for delete, and there is no resource, so that means it is deleted. And if I go to the browser and refresh, you can see there is no resource with user ID 4, and the same thing if I go here and reload, you can see the user with ID 4 is now deleted. So this is how you can use a local API and test all this. Now if you see here, I'm getting all this as get, and I'm not getting the different HTTP methods. That is because it is not saved. I will have to save all these requests. So I will go and just click on save for all these requests and save, and now you can see all these different HTTP methods. So in this part we have just get started with using Postman, and we have got familiar with Postman, how to run request with Postman. In the next part we will see some more features and some more functionality of Postman. I hope all this session was very useful for you. In case there is any doubt or any issues you face, you can let me know in the comment section below. Also share your knowledge with others. If there is anything to be improved, you can let me know in the comment section and I will try to improve in the next session. I hope all of this was very useful. Thank you for watching.